Why was that?
I don't know. I feel like we were the only people on Mixer that seemed to be getting like everyone else was like, "Oh, Mixer community is so good. Like they're just the best community,
Oh.
nicest people." And every time we streamed, people were like, "What's up, fatties?" It's just like, "What the hell? What's wrong with you?"
Man.
Like, there was that. There was like the weird uh, people that were commenting on. It just it was a weird community to me. It never was good.
Yeah. Oh man.
Way better community on Twitch. Even better on YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube's
Wow.
community is usually really good.
Wow.
Plus
I just think
YouTube's
YouTube is so freaking toxic on half the channels I watch, but
yeah.
No, I've got a great old community there. Like I think the thing is like once you've got like good people coming in, they kinda overpower the bad, if that makes sense. Like they kind
As
of
long
like
as you
push out the other
foster,
ones.
yeah, if you foster that positivity, then usually your community can push out bad actors.
Pretty much.
As long as you're not like super huge, and then it's like there's not enough time in the day or manpower to kind of police all that.
My process is like don't speak, don't acknowledge the problem people.
Yeah.
Like if you respond to that, then like everyone, like the good people go in on it, the bad people will feel like, oh yeah, I've got them to talk to me, like I won that. So if you just ignore them and keep doing your thing, they get bored and move on to somebody else who will fight.
Angel Eye in chat says, with Persona 4 Golden out on Steam, have you seen or heard of people playing who hadn't before? Lots of people, actually. Atlas just put out a press release saying that it sold incredibly well over on Steam. And I think for a lot of people that had played it before, I think they had forgotten, number one, that it originally came out on PS2, so it's significantly old at this point. And then Golden came out on Vita, which not enough people had, so like it is, if you've heard about it for a while, or if you were kind of too young when the original games came out, it coming out on PC is a really good opportunity for people to get it. And you know, it's in a higher resolution this time. It's got a better frame rate, you know, because of how old the original stuff was. So yeah, there's a lot of people playing it for the first time, which is really great. It's my favorite Persona, so it's really nice to see people hopping into it. Hopefully they bring 5 over. Hopefully they bring more things in general over, because I'm happy to see more Japanese companies, especially RPG companies, bring this stuff over, where Sega's like, I guess we'll bring Yakuza 0, and it sells like a bajillion copies. And they're like, oh, there's a market here. And it's like, yes, there is. Keep doing this.
I want to see him bring all the old Personas over, because like I've really had an itch to go back, and like there's several old series I've been wanting to play through, and like I've never beaten Persona 1, 2, or Eternal Punishment. And
right. You killed Mina. Good job.
Don't die, Mina.
Oh no.
I have played pieces of those games. I have
not. Me too.
Oh my gosh.
Have you beaten them?
No.
I beat all of them, but my favorite one is Eternal Punishment. Of the 3.
And I'm so mad we didn't get the freaking remake of Eternal Punishment over here. I know it was just the timing with the PSP dying over here. But
yeah.
It still is frustrating.
We got Soul Hackers at least, which was nice. It was nice that they finally brought that over here. But like now, all that stuff is trapped on the DS and the 3DS, and it's like that stuff is. It'd be nice if that stuff would come over to PC, just so it can be more relevant for way longer. Because like now, someone can play Persona 4 Golden on their PC. I don't know whenever there would be some huge technology change that would make that not function, and someone will just mod it anyway.
I can't imagine it would be that hard to just make an like a PSP emulator, and then like a lot of those graphics are scalable, like so they could probably.
It already exists.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like license one of the open source PSP emulators. You know, like that's definitely been done pretty nicely in the past. Or like a lot of PC re-releases, just use DOSBox right out of the box.
Yeah, I mean, GOG lives off of DOSBox. Like,
Yeah.
if they don't give the DOSBox people money regularly,
Right. Or at least like contribute to some of the
yeah,
tech stack.
yeah.
All right, you guys ready to get this thing going?
Yes.
Yep.
All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of Picking Up the Pixels RPG Love. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Musum
Hello.
and Mina.
Hi.
Patreon.com/E1M1. The ones are numbers. Just a quick plug. Get all the cool early access behind the scenes audio. Sometimes the pre-show of PUP shows up in the Outcast, which is the uncensored outtakes before we go live every week. Sometimes PUP shows up, not this month, but we forgot to record a significant conversation we had about reviewing games. Whoops, but that's okay. You can check out all that stuff there, and then you help me pay for these shows, because boy, are these things not cheap, unfortunately. But the cost makes sense, because I don't think we've ever had an outage, knock on wood. So that's patreon.com/E1M1. Musum, what have you been playing this past month?
A few things. So, starting out, I played a butt ton of Fell Seal Arbiter's Mark towards the beginning of the month. I think last time, I might have my timelines mixed up between episodes, but I think last time I was like, yeah, I don't really have a class that can recruit animals, so I don't know if that's going to be a thing. Mm-hmm. And then I immediately unlocked the Wrangler, which lets you wrangle monsters. So
the Wrangler is a really great class name.
It's fun. It's kind of got a it's not a cowboy aesthetic, but it still somewhat makes me think of a cowboy looking at it.
Right.
But like all the new classes in that game are great. So I played, gosh, what was I doing? So I was going through a bunch of missions, and I got to the last area of the game, and at that point I was like, okay, I'm gonna go get the secret character before I do any more missions, so I can get him more leveled up than I did last time. And I thought I was supposed to troll this area called, I think it was Gogobomb City. Mm-hmm. And so I kept patrolling in it, and I kept getting my butt handed to me, because I did this custom difficulty that scales all the enemies to me and gives them access to all the classes and skills that I have.
Right.
And I just kept getting slaughtered, and I literally lost hours to this battle. And finally I looked online, I'm like, why can't I beat this? Like, is there a worker? Is there something else I can do? And I didn't have to do that battle at all. I just had to leave Gogobomb City, go back, watch a cutscene, and it's done.
There you go.
Oh.
So dumb. So like basically I did that, went and got the character, and I was so like done with losing on that game that I haven't played it since.
Oh no.
But that's still a really great game. It's really great for tactics. The DLC is really cool. Like, if you haven't played it, I think you should probably just get the DLC to start with. But it's also like it's a weird DLC in that the content in it is classes and gameplay stuff. It's not. There are very few maps they added. There's no new story content or anything like that. Okay. So it's a weird balance, but I think the things it adds are interesting enough, and I think the new classes are cool enough. Like the whole basis of the samurai class, for instance, in it, is that you inflict debuffs on yourself, and then the samurai class gets damage bonuses for the amount of debuffs that you have on him. And then he has like another skill that like cleanses and heals him and stuff and resets it.
Interesting.
So it's kind of it's a cool push-pull system, you know. And then of course the other two classes are both kind of monster based. Like one of them is I forgot the name of it, but you effectively have these little baby monsters that you summon, and when you attack, they attack as well, or you can dismiss them to do some sort of buff or healing thing.
Ooh, that sounds like my jam.
Yeah, they're all pretty cool, and like you unlock most of the new classes through sending your guys on missions, like I was talking about last time. But I think Fell Seal is awesome. I feel like this indie dev very much deserves to be supported. So I'd encourage everyone to go get it if you like Final Fantasy Tactics. Let's see. So also played a bunch of Xenoblade Chronicles.
Yes.
Which, it's kind of funny because like a non-RPG I've been playing is Ghost of Tsushima, and the basis of Ghost of Tsushima is having little to no HUD or map like element markers or quest pointers.
Right.
And then Xenoblade Chronicles is all of that.
We're just gonna triple the HUD.
Like, I like both approaches, don't get me wrong. It's jarring a little bit going back and forth. But one of my friends showed me the really obvious way on how you track quests in that game that I hadn't been doing before, and it made Xenoblade Chronicles 1,000 times more suitable for me. Just kind of involves a little bit of menu diving. Like, you basically press down on the D-pad to bring up your map list. You press one of the right shoulder buttons to highlight it or to track a quest, and then it will basically show you exactly where it is on the map. And then if it's nothing showing up, then you can read the quest text, and it's usually you got to find a person there, and then you got to dig through your, like, they have a social sphere thing. I forget what it's called. They don't call it a social sphere. It's a non-obvious name. It's like region something.
You're like your connections manager, where it's like,
exactly.
It's close.
And it just shows all the people in the town, and you can highlight one, and it'll tell you when they are active in the town to find them. And then time doesn't really matter in that game, except for when these things show up. So you just go, change the time to whenever they're going to be active and go there. But I still really like this game a lot. I think I'm going to be playing it off and on for probably the rest of the year and still not beat it.
Right. I know that this is one of those games where it's like there's so much side quest that if you try doing it all, you're in for like a 200, 300 hour experience.
Oh, easily, yeah.
So it's like, if make a decision on if you really actually want to do every side quest, or maybe shave a couple of it off and that's the story.
All right, well, and so what I've been trying to do is do the timed ones, because they aren't actually, like, the way the timed ones work in that game is when you progress the story, they stop becoming available at some point.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So I've been trying to bust those out, and a few of them I didn't think I could do, and then I started looking online and realized, oh no, the map is just nonsensical on how to get to this region that I haven't figured out how to get to.
Right.
To get to this point on the south end of the map, I need to go into a cave at the north end of the map.
That's like Xenoblade Chronicles 2. That is just the same, where the map is nonsensical sometimes, and you're like, I can't go there. Look at all these big old dinos and stuff in the way. They're like level 50 or 60. I'm level 10.
Yeah.
It's God, 2 is so much it is so much work. Like, it's amazing to me how many things they got right in 1 that somehow they got wrong in 2. Like, like, it's the same systems. Like, the buttons are very similar. It's just, I mean, I guess it just comes back to their lack of UI designers and not communicating as clearly. But
yeah.
I don't know. 2 is one of those games that I love, and then I start playing, and then I remember all the defects with it that make it hard for me to play.
Yeah.
But and then I also I did a Twitter poll where I was like, I'm gonna play this old game series. Which one should I do? And Front Mission won that one. So start a game on Front Mission for DS. This is a port upgrade, whatever thing of the Super Nintendo version, adds a second story to it. I have never beaten this game. I have played the first mission at least a dozen times, like over the course of owning it.
Me too, yeah.
It's I don't know, man. Like I've started watching videos because I'm determined to actually get through the thing this time, and I need to understand how its systems work. And I'm not quite there yet, but I understand a little bit more. And that's they have 3 weapon classes. You have long, short, and melee.
Mhm.
And those determine which mech goes first when you attack. Because whenever you attack someone, they get to attack too.
Right, right.
And the problem is, much like the recent BattleTech, is you're losing limbs and body parts that are going to cost you money to fix later on your Wanzers. So um, I have not beat the second mission yet, which is what made me start diving into YouTube videos, which surprisingly not a ton of front mission 1 advice out there.
Right, right.
I did find one that I think is going to work for me, but it just cracks me up because the guy at the intros, he's real cheerful and talking. He's like, yeah, no, you just do X, Y, Z. This means this. And, oh, well, the main character died this first mission, but that's the one mission he's allowed to die. And then he goes to like the second mission and starts getting his butt kicked too. He's like, well, we might have to do this one again. And
Oh, jeez.
it's not filling me with confidence.
Yeah, yeah.
But he's had the best advice in explaining the system to me so far.
Right.
I just got to figure out how to appropriately gear up my 5 Wanzers and loosely follow a walkthrough so I don't miss the secret characters and make it through at least one of the campaigns. And I got to tell you, the warring factions in front mission, it does not help that one of them is called, I believe, UCS, and the other is called OCU. It is very...
I forgot about that.
very difficult to follow.
Yep.
But it's... I started diving into a little bit of the lore, too, of the front mission world, because it's always felt to me like it took place in kind of a Vietnam, Philippines type place, but it turns out it's just a made-up new continent, and that's part of the deal with the naming of these 2 forces that are fighting.
Oh, okay.
But it's... I feel like that game's cool. I like mechs. I'm starting to wish that mech games focused less on always having your guys lose limbs on their mechs and costing thousands of in-game currency to fix it. Like,
right.
That seems to be a real popular thing, but I seem to be terrible at it, which I don't know. Anyway, I've been trying to make myself play it like at least 2 or 3 times a week, like attempt the mission and just not like completely give into it. So the last game I've been playing is one my nephew Marshall bought for me the other night, and I installed, and I thought this was going to be a Dark Souls clone, and it is Remnant from the Ashes. And in my opinion, while it certainly borrows ideas from Dark Souls, it is very much its own thing. Because it is way easier than Dark Souls.
Thank goodness.
Not that it's easy. Like, I think the boss I beat today took me 5 or 6 tries, but it is, gosh, it kind of cribs from some of the best, right? Because like there are elements that make me think of Destiny in it. There's elements that make me think of Diablo 3 in it. So what this is a third-person action game where your primary weapon, like you basically equip 2 guns and a melee weapon. And then on top of that, you can equip a mod in your gun, which will do things like add fire to it, or let you summon guys to help you, or make a healing circle. You have traits that accentuate you in different ways, like raise your health, or your spirit, which lets you use your mods, or like increase the amount of experience you get, or things like that. And then crap, there was a third thing, but I forgot it. It doesn't matter. So this is I think this game is primarily made to play in co-op, and it's like a 3-player co-op. And the naming convention in the game really makes me think of Destiny, because everything is called, like, the enemy is called the Root,
Right.
who is called this apocalypse world, and you have to go find the founder, and with these very like generic names that are all capitalized, and then the weapons in it, like, they aren't like designed to a Destiny caliber of shooting, but the weapons are kind of few and far between, and you can get them all. And I think a lot of the game is about adjusting your setup for whatever's you're encountering or having difficulty with.
Okay, so you don't have a bunch of tools, but you're kind of mixing and matching those to suit the encounters.
Right. So like you'll have like an armor set that might increase how quickly your spirit recharges, which lets you use your mods more, or like you have an armor set that'll increase critical damage, or like there's a melee build one where like it reduces damage you receive from rifles, but it makes the enemies more aggressive towards you. And then it's kind of the same deal with the weapons. Like I think according to Steam, I've played about 7 hours. And I don't think most of that was pause time. I think I actually played. And the shoot, I lost my train of thought. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, the weapons. I think I have about 8 weapons. There's a lot of like weird secrets in the game, but all the weapons feel pretty different from each other. So like I picked up a submachine gun that takes my pistol slot, and then I picked up another submachine gun that shoots like fiery bullets permanently.
Ooh.
I picked up like a sniper rifle, which only has 1 shot in it, but is like super invaluable in the world map in this game. Like a lot of my tactics on exploring solo in the world map is I'll find some enemies at a distance, start shooting them, because you can, like, the game is very much a shooter in that you can headshot things and they die, right? Like it's there are stats and there are numbers there, but it seems like well, no, actually, you know what? Marshall explained this to me. So evidently what the game does is what it takes, it's almost like a light level in Destiny, in that you have a gear level that for some reason you can only see when you load your game. Like you can't actually see it in the character menu, but all the enemies that spawn are 1 gear level above whoever your highest party member is.
Sure.
And it's also like Destiny in that there's only, I think, like 3 or 4 levels of that. And once you're, so like if you are 5 gear levels apart from the highest member in your party, you won't do any damage to the enemies.
Right.
The other really cool thing is this is it is heavy on story in certain aspects, but it is, all the levels are procedurally generated.
Cool.
You don't know what bosses you're going to get. You don't know how the tile sets are going to be laid out. I've only played the 1 game, so I don't have a second character to compare it to, but I suspect it's a little bit like Warframe in that you get these, here's this room and here's this room, and it's going to randomly decide which of these to attach to each other. But
right.
We didn't encounter a boss that Marshall hadn't seen. Like he'd played, I think, 3 different characters or something at that point, just because he was really into it and he kept trying to get friends into it. So he kept starting new characters with those friends to try and catch him up to his main. But like we had at least 2 kind of survive X amount of time horde type encounters, you know, which both of those, like we had to try a couple times to get through it, but it was very much just, okay, go back to base, maybe upgrade some stuff, maybe re-equip, now come back, we'll try a new strategy. But it's a really cool game. Like part of me thinks you will like it, Boston. Like if you ever see it on...
sounds like it, yeah.
If you ever see it on sale, you might pick it up.
I might be adding it to my is there any deal alert list right now.
Yeah. And we're playing on PC, but like I started playing this game last night and I played like, well, just do the math. I played 7 hours between last night and this morning. Like
right. Between last night and the recording of this show.
Yeah. Like it's a really cool game. Like the movement is not as stiff as like Dark Souls. Like the things it has in common with Dark Souls is you know you're about to fight a boss because there will be a mist gate into the boss area.
Right. So it's not a surprise.
Yeah. Like when you die, you keep all your experience and everything. Like
Okay.
you don't lose any progress, but they do
Mm.
have like checkpoints that are reminiscent of bonfires that refill your
So would you say
S.
it's visually like Dark Souls, but not like
I don't even know if I'd
because it's
say that.
like to
'Cause
me, Dark Souls is like super punishing when you make a mistake, and when you die, you tend to lose a lot, and it just feels like I mean, it's the kind of punishment where you know that you messed up, but at the same
Yeah.
point, it's very difficult for someone who
yeah,
like casually makes a mistake or two
and
all the time.
I don't. That's what I think of too when I think of Dark Souls. And I've always
Mhm.
heard game was Dark Souls with guns, and I couldn't disagree more. I think the only thing it has in common with Dark Souls is miss gates before boss, and it has an Estus flask equivalent called Dragon Hearts that you
Okay,
get. You
so it
get
has
like
some like
three of them.
light
Yeah,
mechanical aspects of it.
That
yeah,
doesn't feel like Dark Souls to me, though.
yeah.
Like
This
that could
game,
be anything.
I don't
Yeah.
think this is anything like Dark Souls. I like traversing the levels makes it feel almost like an old, like when Diablo procedurally generated like levels. It
Hmm.
kind of, I say it. I don't even does 3 procedurally
3
generate
does
or
In
slightly, not as
in
much as the other
certain
ones.
ways, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's not very
so,
We
very
had
good.
a really good conversation on TVGP last week about the lasting effects of some larger tentpole RPG releases. And I'm not even gonna name them here because I don't want to record this for like 3 hours. But it sounds very much like this is one of those. This is one of those titles that like we don't have the term yet for. It has not stolen. Sorry, it has used some of the mechanics from Dark Souls that like the Estus flasks and the mist gates and the bonfires and stuff, like some of the non-combat mechanical stuff, but it doesn't take any of the combat, it doesn't take any of that like um really deliberate movement and difficulty and the punishment. It doesn't take any of that stuff. It just kind of takes the rest of the game. And I think the hardest part language wise with games now is the Soulsborne series has been so impactful on so much stuff that like it has touched so many other games, but we don't really know what the language is of like it takes the non-combat stuff from Dark Souls and then does its own sort of Diablo Destiny thing with the rest
yeah,
of it.
yeah, yeah. And that is the best description I could come up for with it. Like
Yeah.
this very much is a game that is lower budget than any of the games we've talked about. Like it is like it's a cool world you're exploring, but like, the graphics could be better.
Sure.
The what else did I say? The movement's pretty fluid in it. It has nothing to do with what we were just talking about, but
But it's
like
nice to know it's not this like sluggish
yeah,
thing,
yeah. Like honestly, like opening mission, like I'm walking around like, okay, this is going to be like Dark Souls, so it's going to kill me at the end. And it didn't do that. It made me melee fight some guys, like, and like you can move pretty quick in that game.
Mhm.
But one of the coolest aspects of the game is just like all the weird discovery things. So like Marshall was showing me a bunch of secrets that he didn't know till way late that you could get at the start. Like so the submachine gun I got, like you basically go into the first world and find this key card, and then you go back to base. And there's a basement in the base, and you go down to the basement, and then like the key card goes to a door on that, but you got to go find a fuse to activate the door. And once you do that, you go in, and I think you need 2 players to do this. No, I'm talking about it. You go in, and there's like a giant, like, one of those video game exhaust fans that's like 50 feet high.
Right.
And it's spinning. What you have to do is have someone go take the fuse back out so that exhaust fan turns off, and then you go behind it, and there's a machine gun.
Oh, right.
Or like this morning, we found like we were in this alternate reality, and we found this giant tower, and there was like a puzzle in front of the tower, and like one person needs to go to this place behind the tower to get the instructions for the puzzle, and the other person needs to move throughout the puzzle. And once you unlock it, you get the opportunity to buy this cool set of armor called like Void Armor or something like that. And there's just all sorts of weird little cool things like that. And it doesn't beat you over the head with loot like a Borderlands or something else does. Like all the weapons have I think the thing I love about the weapons is they simultaneously feel and look like pieces of crap, but also feel epic, like in their own right. Like it's a really cool balance they've struck with them. And I don't know that it's a super balanced game in terms of like I just got a beam rifle today, and that seems kind of broken in terms of the rest of the game, but it's really fun to use because it looks like this rinky-dink sci-fi sniper thing that just shoots out a constant radiation beam.
Yeah, that's the stuff.
I guess
it sounds really good.
Yeah, I'm loving it. It's definitely not perfect. Like I could, like it's not always clear where you're supposed to go for the quest. For instance, there's something to know. Like there's destructible objects in each world. So like when you're on Earth, the destructible object is anything wood. And if you walk into a room and there's a bookshelf, if you destroy that bookshelf, there's probably a hidden room behind it.
Okay.
So there's just like weird, like hidden crap everywhere that seems pretty cool. So I'm excited to see what the rest of this game has to offer. And it's cool having something that I can play with one of my nephews too. So
yeah,
because he's into very competitive games from the sounds of it, and I'm not.
Right.
But anyway, so that is all I've been playing.
All right, Mina, how about you?
So we're gonna start off low, and then we're gonna end high on my games.
I like
we're
a theme.
Start off.
I dig it.
Because I don't want to dwell on this too much, but I played Tales of Crestoria, which is their new mobile Tales game.
So since it's showing up first on your list, I guess I should delete it off of my phone.
This game, oh my gosh! So okay. So first of all, this game is like a Tales clone of Grand Blue Fantasy. If anybody knows what Grand Blue is.
Okay.
So it's gonna be super grindy. It's got like all the elements of Grand Blue put in.
50 different types of materials.
Right.
Yep.
And that to me, that's not the problem. The problem lies in the epic amount of bugs and problems. like this is not like, oh, the game is bad. It's like, oh no, the game is unplayable.
Right, it doesn't function.
So we're talking like people can't log in. 2, people are unable to play dailies, like daily elements of a game. Like it's permanently locked them out. 3, the game just has like random crashes that happen because of voice files in the game.
Oh no.
Like I could sit here and probably name like 50 different types of horrible bugs that make the game unplayable.
Are you playing it on phone, or is it available on Steam too?
It's on only phone type things and emulator if you emulate on your computer. But here's the thing: the problems persist across everything.
Oh, okay.
There's FPS problems. The game will heat up your phone like crazy.
Boy.
Like burns my hands to hold sometimes. And the thing is like, all right, I like maybe I would put up with some of these bugs if the problem was just like, oh, like this has only gone on for like a week and they're clearly working on it. These bugs have persisted since the day 1 of the beta, and the beta testers from months ago had reported all of these bugs,
right?
And not a single one has been taken care of over months.
That's real disappointing. It's not like, oh, we put out a bad patch once it came out, and sorry, we're working on it. It's just like, yeah, just radio silence. See you guys later.
Yeah, it really has been radio silence. They seem to not be acknowledging these problems. Like the only and the thing is like the community, they can't bear that. The only thing that they've done to like the only patches they've done is like whenever somebody's found an exploit or whenever there's like something going wrong with the gotcha element of the game where like
right.
oh, people were getting like extra pulls here or there or something like
Right.
that.
Or like people couldn't buy
fix that.
currency.
Like fix that immediately. Whoa.
Yeah.
So I don't like that. That smacks of greed, and that smacks of just not caring about the fan base.
It doesn't feel good at all. Where it's like, this seems, I feel like a lot of people, especially with live service games, throw out those accusations of like, not that you're doing this, but like you always see it online where it's like, oh, we were having fun, so you got to patch that out, right? But in an instance like this, where it's like the game is genuinely broken, but if I was getting one extra pull on an 11 pull banner, you fix that in like 24 hours, that doesn't feel good.
It feels bad, right?
Yeah.
So like for me, I wasn't able to log in for like maybe 2 days. I was having login problems where it would crash on the title screen.
Oh boy.
The other thing is if you transfer your account between like Android and iOS, normally what games tend to do is they're like, oh, well, your currency will become permanent in-game currency. You can't just like, use it as paid currency. I don't know why.
Oh, sure.
But I'm sure there's some sort of like iOS, Android shop thing that like I'm sure there's a valid reason because this happens across all kinds of games. In this game, if you transfer your account between Android and iOS, they take all the currency away. Even your free currency, all of it. They wipe it clean.
Oh, that's weird.
What the heck?
So I was having problems with my phone, and I wanted to try and see if I could use it on emulator. And it's like, well, you would have to spend all of your currency, and you don't get currency in even amounts to do polls.
Oh,
so I had to wait until I played the game enough that I got enough to do a 10 poll. Otherwise, I would have just been throwing currency away.
Oh my god.
And there's so many problems that I could just go on and on about, but it's just kind of like, oh, what's the point? Like,
Most importantly, it's at the bottom of your list for this month.
It's so bad. I honestly would play a game that was super greedy but playable than this, because this, despite it has actually a pretty decent story. It has a Tales story built into it. But it's unplayable. So yeah. I can't be bothered to care. And I insist, I highly insist, if you listen to this podcast and you're interested in mobile games, don't play this game. Don't give them your time or your money until they fix all these things. Like, that is...
I just deleted it off my phone.
Like, this is unfair. This is unfair, and they don't seem to care. And that's what's maddening to me, is they don't.
That's
seem
the
to
worst
care.
part. Yeah, not like they're not even trying. That's the worst.
Yeah. So
anywho,
we're gonna move on to better things.
Yeah.
We're gonna make a step up, and we go quite a big step up. We're gonna take a leap into a game, new game, Paper Mario Origami King, or whatever the title
I've been
is.
playing that too.
Man, I like it. I don't know. I don't know what other people think, but I like it.
I just got through the first area, the talking trees, old tree that got cut down area. I'm like past the tutorial area, and I'm having a really great time, largely because number one, the music is really good. And number two, it's really well written. Like, it is genuinely not like laugh out loud funny, but it's very, very clever.
Yeah, I've been smiling while playing, which is good. You know, I need a game to make me smile. So I've beaten, I guess, a second boss fight. So I'm going to be very careful here. Yeah. I've beaten the second boss fight, and so different elements are coming into the game. Different aspects are coming into the game. The boss fight is not like boss fights are not like the normal fights
Yeah, they reversed the whole thing.
Right.
Yeah.
It's very. And
It's a
that one
super
requires,
cool idea.
Yeah, both regular battles and boss battles require you to use your brain a little to like solve the problem.
Yeah, so if anyone hasn't seen the game, it's really interesting because normal boss battles has Mario in the middle and has 4 concentric circles around him. And part of what excuse me. Part of what you're doing is there's a bunch of enemies on the screen and you need to it starts off with you need to turn the circles to get them either lined up in a row where you can do like the Mario stomp attack, or in a square where you can do the hammer attack. So it's this cool puzzle game sort of thing. Like I know the criticism is that it's not a super RPG. I don't really care because it's fun to play like these puzzles. And it starts off with you spinning the rings, and the thing I got just before I stopped playing the last session was I'm able to push and pull an individual row.
Yeah.
They're circles, so I'm not sure what they're called, but like one line you can sort of push and pull towards you and away from you. So it is really fun, and even at the beginning there are some head scratchers where it's like, okay, all right, okay, yeah, I can do some twisting, I can do some pulling, all right, that's cool.
So they later unlock a little battle tutorial Coliseum thingy. Well, I don't know what to call it. Like a battle tutorial thing where you can kind of like it'll throw different situations at you, and
Oh,
you can
cool.
practice it. And then if you can't solve the puzzle, it gives you the answer. It's kind of like this is what you should have done to get it
Oh,
lined up. So
that's pretty cool. I also like that every time you save a toad out in the world, they hang out in the stands cheering you on when you're
yeah.
fighting battles. That's a really nice touch.
I just got a device. Well, I didn't just get it, but I got a device that rings a little bell whenever there's a toad nearby that you can save, which is kind of handy.
Ooh, nice.
Because
Yeah.
there are a lot of toads.
Yeah, I was sort
You'll
of surprised
never find them.
in like the first area where they're like, all right, here's a bunch, we can start saving these toads, and they're just everywhere. They're in the trees, they're like under logs, they're just littered everywhere.
I remember looking at a map after I had just cleared an area thinking like I did a pretty good job on clearing out all the toads. Like I felt like I found a ton.
Mhm.
I opened up the map and it's like 50% toads found. And I was like,
Yeah,
oh my God, where are they?
Yeah. Yeah, I saved a bunch in that first area, and it's like 23%. It's like, oh, God. Okay. Jeez.
They are everywhere.
Yeah.
So I like this game. I know it's not. So everyone always wants to compare every one of the Paper Marios back to Thousand Year Door.
Yep.
And I really hate doing that comparison because it leaves no room for anybody to enjoy anything when you do that. Because
Well,
that game
the games
truly
can't.
special.
The games can't evolve at that point because it's like,
Right.
well, this isn't like Thousand Year Door, and it's like, yeah, I know, like, it's not as bad as the last couple because I haven't played any of the previous ones, and I wanted to check them out, but the last couple have gotten reviewed so poorly that it's like Sticker Star and I think Color Splash was the other one where people are just like, they're just not functionally good games.
I feel bad because I've heard from some people that they aren't as bad as the critics out there make it. The critics
Right.
just really want Thousand Year Door 2 and
Right.
they will accept nothing else.
Yeah, the 2000 Year Door. Yeah.
So can you guys give me some Paper Mario history? Because I know they had that. Like, does it have anything to do with Super Mario and the Legend of the whatever stars? That Super Nintendo RPG?
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, Mario is mute, like he was before, and like Bowser is friendlier towards you, so it sort of has those through lines, but not.
Well, I just mean, like, is it the same series? Like, when was the first Paper Mario?
So the first Paper Mario is one that I never played.
That's the N64 one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it that one was loved for its time.
Yeah.
And
they might be the same series. It sort of feels the same, like humor-wise and kind of exploration-wise, but this one is so not an RPG that it's kind of hard to even see that through line. Like there's no, you don't have a level, you don't you have experience and you do or you have health and you do damage, but like it kind of doesn't matter that much, at least very early on. So it's sort of hard to see if it's a definitive through line there.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't compare them at all. They're kind of, Mario likes to evolve.
Yeah.
And not be
and
the
it is
same
very
thing.
good.
Yeah, and I like it. It's different, and I like it. That's the things I've gotten from it. The humor is good, and
Yep.
I've just basically had the best time with it, and yeah, so like that's a positive breath of fresh air for me in terms of games that I've been playing.
Yeah.
Do you have anything more to say about the Origami?
No,
I don't want to spoil, so.
No, I'm super early, and I agree with you. Like, I don't. It's one of those games where it seems like it's kind of a mishmash of a whole bunch of different stuff, but I'm just having a good time with it that I'm kind of never thinking of like, oh, I wish this had experience. Oh, I wish this had levels. I wish this had X, Y, and Z. It's just like I'm playing it. I'm like, yeah, this is fun. Woo, throwing confetti. Yeah, this is great.
Oh, I love throwing confetti. That's one of the mechanics in the game is where parts of the world, the mache world, has been like destroyed.
Yeah, like you see the paper mache like rigging under the world. It's really good.
Right. And then you throw confetti on top of the broken areas, and it fills it in until the world repairs itself because of all the confetti you've thrown.
It's really good.
It's so adorable. So
yeah.
Paper Mario Origami King, pretty great.
Yeah,
not
it's a really good time.
Door. Stop bashing it.
Yeah, right.
So the last game that I've played is Story of Seasons: Friends of Mineral Town. So
yeah.
This game is on both Steam and Switch. So if anybody had played the original Harvest Moon game of this, they're going to notice that it's very the same, and two, not the same.
Okay.
So I don't exactly know why. I don't exactly know why they've made this game. The only thing I can assume is because Natsume Natsume will never let go of the name Harvest Moon.
No.
And they will probably never let them have this game re-released ever again, the original game ever re-released again, at least in stateside. The only way that they could ever re-release this game is by rebranding it and remaking it from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they've done. Like the lines are different, the text is different, some of the elements of the game has shifted around and changed. There's things they've adopted from remakes of the game that didn't exist in the original of Friends of Mineral Town or Harvest Moon 64, because was this 64? No, this was on the PS1, right? So this is Back to Nature. My God. Okay. The history behind this game. So it has different elements added to it. It doesn't look the same at all to the original. It's still chibi, but it's not the same looking.
Right.
I really like it. If someone were to ask me, hey, would you recommend Friends of Mineral Town or would you recommend Rune Factory 4? If you are a gamer and you play a lot of games, I would say Rune Factory 4 without a doubt. If you are trying to give this to someone who is not a gamer, like doesn't want to do combat, just wants to do like farming elements and festivals and light gameplay sort of type things, that's this game. Story of Seasons: Friends of Mineral Town is for the people who want to chill and do like easier type gameplay where it's not gamer level serious.
Right.
So they've definitely eased up on some of the original elements of the game. Like originally they had rivals where you had characters that would in fact swoop down and sweep your romance partner off their feet and
Oh,
carry them
right.
away. And that was in the original. That is no longer in this one. They've
Oh, thank
done away with
goodness.
that. So there's that. They still have like the first 2 levels of the rival romance, but like after that, it's yeet. It's gone. It's no
That's
longer
great.
there. So, you know, there's some people who like that, some people who hate that. It's, you know, even. They've added 2 new romance targets, and they seem fine to me. I kind of like one of them a lot. Oh, the other thing that they've done. So in the Japanese version of the game, they added something called Best Friends, where you could romance the same gendered person, and you can have a best friend ceremony where you end up living together as best friends.
Okay.
The English version of the game was like, let's just call it what it is.
Right.
It's marriage. It's marriage.
Right.
We are calling it marriage. Best friend system is not best friends. It's marriage.
Yeah.
And so they've done that.
Oh, that's
and
good.
I like that. I like that. Let's just call it what it is, because that's what it is. You're romancing them. You're giving them gifts all the time.
You have a ceremony.
You have a ceremony. You're both wearing dresses or suits or whatever. Like you live together. That's it.
Right.
So I like that is a localization change that I really like. XC does amazing localization.
They really do.
If I see them behind localizing a game, I know it's going to be quality stuff. So shout outs to them, and I really appreciate like some of the dialogue in this game is humorous even. I know this isn't the original telling of what's being written here. This is definitely not the original stuff. But I loved when one of the characters actually said oof at something. I was just like, yeah, that's definitely one way. That would be an oof moment right there.
Yeah.
So I really like it. It's cute. I'm having a great time. I recommend this to people who will not get Rune Factory 4 because they don't want that sort of experience. They just want to farm. This is your game.
Maybe if you like Animal Crossing and you're kind of maybe looking for the next thing where it's still kind of a light, like not stressful, kind of relaxing thing. It sounds like this might be along the same vein.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you put this over Stardew Valley?
So Stardew Valley feels like a more mature, more like
more gamey.
It's not even gamey. It's more like a more an adult sort of story. Like they have sort of like a more mature audience sort of thing. Whereas this one has a lot of like adorable rainbow butterflies. Like we're living in the
blue skies all year round.
Yeah, right. It's like just a wonderful time. And I feel like that might like deter someone where they want something a little more serious. But this game is, I love it. I love it for what it is. Like I don't like Natsume's Harvest Moon, like what they've done with that name. The games that they've made with that name, I do not like. This harkens back to the original Harvest Moons. So if like people are fondly missing those types of things, this is the one. And in the same vein, if you're wanting a more Stardew Valley sort of game, I feel like that's more Rune Factory to me. Like it's got a more
like the
mature
next steps.
take. Right. This is like this game right here is kind of like I would give to like small children, people who just don't want that very serious, hard sort of gameplay type thing. Just like an introductory game. This is really good for them.
Someone looking for pure escapism.
Right. It's adorable.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's all that I've really been playing. So what about you, Boston?
We already talked about Paper Mario. I finally made some more progress in Final Fantasy VII Remake. I am, after what feels like 30 years, I'm finally out of Wall Market, since that isn't... and honestly, Wall Market just sapped my enthusiasm for this game. It's just... It was too long. I feel like I had the experience with Wall Market that a lot of people felt like they had with the rest of the game, where it's like, yeah, you're taking... 10-minute sequence and you super stretched it out. I didn't. My main problem with Wall Market is the entire area felt too big and it was like too twisty turny, and it needed to be like that's what Wall Market is. I don't think Square did anything wrong making that section how it was. It's one of those ones where it's just like, yeah, I get it. Like, let's go to the Don Corneo. Like, the Don Corneo stuff was really great. I'm glad they kept the the dialogue between Aerith and Tifa about what they're going to do to Don Corneo. They kept that intact, which was really great because that's one of my favorite parts of the original. I liked the music rhythm game, probably unsurprisingly, but a lot of the rest and the Coliseum is really good. But like honestly, a lot of it is just like, all right, go talk to this person, then come all the way back and talk to this person, then talk to 3 people, and it just it was a little much. So I got through that. I fought like the boss that you run into at the very beginning of the sewers, and then I saved it. And now I have to go back now that I have my little bit of momentum behind me. But yeah, it still enjoying that game, even with the speed bump. But it's still really good. I really need to get back to it so I can finish it sometime before we record our top 10 list this year. What you say something, Yusun?
Oh, I was gonna say I've accepted I'm in kind of my initial enthusiasm for the game was not shared by anyone, so I've accepted that this may just be a me title all around. I do agree the Wall Market part was a bit annoying, but
right.
I did kind of beat that game in a week. Like,
yeah,
so
I will never tamp down someone's enthusiasm, especially about games and especially about RPGs, because everyone's just so sour about RPGs all the time that I'm happy that we can have this show and be like, RPGs are great, as long as they work. Most importantly, that's an important asterisk.
Right.
My last one this month, just real short. Final Fantasy V Forge Out Fiesta has completely hit a brick wall for me. I don't have a great group on the second run I have, and I am in the second world, literally on the doorstep of the Forest of Moor, and that was like a couple of weeks ago, and I really do not want to do the Seal Crystal fight with the team I have, because I think it's largely going to come down to time mages trying to hit the crystals with Reviga, whatever the second level gravity is, and if that lands, then just dumping Comet as fast as you can before they kill you, and I don't want to do that. So I've been sort of hesitating to get back to it, and honestly, it's August now, so this is the last month of Forge Out Fiesta, and I might just finish one this year, and that might be okay. Maybe I'll just have a quiet year instead of finishing 4 or 5 like I usually do. And then next year, hopefully, I can play it on an analog pocket if I can get a pre-order secured for that, which would be great. But that's all I've been playing, so let's move on to our RPG releases for August 2020. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered Edition comes out on Switch, PS4, iOS, and Android on the 27th. Couple of reminders here. It is cross-play, so if you got a bunch of people sitting in the same room, you can play across a bunch of different devices. It doesn't have local multiplayer. So plan accordingly, however
Weird.
that's going to work. And it does have voice acting, which maybe won't turn out great. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. That game's weird, but I'm glad they're trying it again, and I'm glad they're putting online multiplayer so people can play it together.
It needs it.
Yes, yeah.
Weird to
very
me
badly
out that
needs
there's
it.
not local. You would have thought that would have been a priority considering what the game originally was, but
Right.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's one of those things where it's like from a design perspective, because the original one was hooking up a bunch of GBAs to a
yeah.
GameCube. So I wonder if it's like, well, we could just remaster this and put online multiplayer, or we could like refactor the whole thing. And I wonder if it was like, well, that might be too difficult. So
You know, I guess the reality is like Nintendo Switch, iOS, and Android, everyone has their own screen in that situation.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So you're pretty
It's
much
just-
doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm hoping it works out well. I'm curious to see how reviews do for this.
I personally love the original, but
Yes.
it really has to you have to play it with other people. Like that's
Solo,
a must.
it's not great. Yeah.
It can't be that good solo. There's no way
Yeah.
it's good solo. In my own mind, like I had fun specifically because it was all of us playing together.
Right.
So.
That's a huge part of it. Yeah.
I just remember playing that game like we were in our early 20s, I think, at that point, and like
Mhm.
4 grown dudes in a tiny bedroom
With tiny
DSs
GBAs.
hooked up to this thing.
Yeah.
Paper, rock, scissors to see who holds the
Who holds the bucket?
crystal.
Yep.
Yeah, wherever that thing was.
Yeah. Next release here is Wasteland 3 coming out PC, PS4, and Xbox One on the 28th. Yeah, Yusum said at the beginning, like, he backed this and didn't realize it was coming out. I feel like they've been talking about this for a really long time, and then suddenly it's just coming out at the end of the month. So
I probably need to start like investigating like what tier I bought and like should I be expecting something physical in the mail at some
right,
point?
should I be
Like,
getting a key or am I getting a disc? Like, what platform is it on? Yeah.
no idea what I did. Like I backed this one. I think this was a Fig launched one.
Oh, I think you're right. Yeah.
And I think that's what throws me off because I get so much Kickstarter updates from all the other projects, and Fig I get no emails from hardly.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if Fig is even running anymore. Yeah, I don't know. And last but certainly not least, Moon is coming out on the Switch on the 27th. This was originally titled Moon Remix RPG Adventure when it came out in Japan on the PS1. This is a super important RPG release. This is a game that was, as soon as it came out in Japan in like 97, it was guaranteed it was not going to come out over here because it's really weird and seemed impossible to translate. Thankfully, it's coming out now. The reason it's called a remix RPG is because it essentially takes place in a world after the bad guy has been beaten. So it's largely what happens after an RPG is done. And it has really inspired a whole ton of really big games, most notably Undertale. Took a lot of inspiration from this. So it's supposed to be this kind of really weird, quirky, fantastic thing. And it's great to see that it's coming out later this month. Let's move on to the news stories here. Nintendo had a third-party Direct Mini. Third-party, for anyone who's sort of pooping their pampers over this one. There are 2 big RPG releases from this. First one is Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne is getting HD remaster on the Switch. Number one. Yes. Number one, most importantly. Woo. But also, for anyone, let's remember a whole bunch of important things about Nocturne. Number one, it looks incredible, and the soundtrack is incredible. Number 2, it's hard. It is brutally difficult. So, thankfully, Atlas this time is putting in a, I don't even remember what they're calling the super easy difficulty.
Safety.
Well, no, they named it something different this time.
Different? Oh.
Yeah, it even more clearly is like, this is super duper easy. So if anyone hasn't played any of the SMT games, this is, if that super easy difficulty is really super easy, this will probably be a really great place to start, because Nocturne is really good, and it's also very brutally difficult. Also, reminder: this doesn't have Dante from Devil May Cry in it because it's the whatever the third version that came out on the PS2 in Japan was called, like Future Perfect Devil Edition, whatever it was. So it has Raido from the SMT spin-off games, which remaster those next because they're incredible and no one played them. They're really good. So go check that out. I don't think there's a release date for that yet. It's next year, I think. But I think that's all we have. And then they showed off a new trailer for SMT5, saying that it's coming in 2021, and they're aiming for a simultaneous worldwide release, which is crazy for Atlus because that, I don't know if they've done that before with anything.
Not that I can recall.
No, usually it's like it's coming out in Japan this year, don't stream anything, and then it's coming out in the US next year, don't stream anything, and like that's really about all we get.
Maybe that's why they're doing that, because they got
probably
beat up so much on their crazy stream restrictions on 5.
And they pulled the stream restrictions on Persona 5 Royal too. Where it's like, oh yeah, cool, you can stream it up until this point. It's like, come on,
you gotta stop. Like, listen,
you gotta cool.
This is free advertising, honestly.
Yeah,
I've never seen anybody just be like, the thing is like nobody out there is like, you know what, I'd rather just watch someone, and that will be my way of getting through this game. A lot of people who watch the game were either A, never going to ever buy it in any point in time in history, or B, they've already bought it, they've already played it, and now they want to re-experience the whole thing again through a fresh set of eyes because they can't brainwash themselves.
Or they just want to, or like there's no demo and they just want to check out like an hour or two of actual gameplay.
Right.
It's frustrating.
So honestly, my only real fear on these releases is that they release them right next to each other. Like, please, Atlas, put them like a half year apart.
Yeah, like Nocturne comes out in July and 5 comes out in August, and it's like, why? Like, I can't go through both of these.
Good about not doing that so far. I think they're pretty good at understanding the market and not.
Yeah. I trust Atlus. I don't trust Sega. Sega's
that's true.
Too many times in the past.
Well, the thing is you got to remember now they've Sega's staff has actually adopted Atlus staff. Like they've actually fused into one another now. So like the different heads of Sega are now ex Atlus people. They are now in charge over those areas. They
put on the earrings. They did the fusion dance. Like it's all together.
They did fuse. So it's, even though Atlus has been like absorbed, it's actually been absorbed in a way that kind of gives Atlus more power than they
sort
had,
of like culturally impactful.
Oh, please, dude. Sega has no idea what to do with its properties. Like
the only property they seem to know what to do with is Yakuza, and it's like they're making all the right choices with that franchise, and it's incredible seeing them succeed for once.
I mean, that is amazing.
The more recent Sonics have been good too.
Yeah, because they gave them to someone else.
Right.
They said, "Here's this dude, the Christian Whitehead, I think his name is." It's like, look, you're a super crazy Sonic fan. What do you think you'd do with a game? And he's like, "Oh, here, X, Y, and Z." And they're like, "All right, go ahead, just go make it." Yeah, that's a smart choice, Sega. Good job. All right, well, that's all of our news stories for this month, which means we're at the end of the episode. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. If you'd like to visit us, do so at pickingupthepixels.com. Everywhere to find and follow us is on the right-hand side of the page. Patreon.com/E1M1, the ones are numbers, like we talked about at the top of the show. You get cool, just like a ton of, I just looked, there's like hundreds of episodes of stuff up there. Early access, behind the scenes stuff, exclusive stuff, all up there. $5 a month is the recommended tier. That gets you everything. And it's per month, not per episode. So just $5 a month. If you're a patron already, super appreciate it. If you're not, head on over there and go sign up. Meesum, where can we find you on the internet?
You can find the nexus of all my audio endeavors at jbaudio.net.
And Mina, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitch or on YouTube under Mina KO Rocket.
You can find all my podcasts at e1m1.com, and I'll put in a free plug for DestinyEmblemCollector.com over here. If you're crazy enough about Destiny Emblem Collectors, or Destiny Emblems like me, you can find out where to get all of them over there. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you all next month. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone, for hanging out with us in the live stream. Special credit over here to Angel Eye. Thanks for chilling with us. We'll see you next month.